What up, everybody? It's your boy A Davis with Pels in the Blender, coming to you to give you another episode. Kind of want to touch on the Pels universe a little bit and what's going on. This will be a shorter video. Basically, I just wanted to touch on Summer League a little bit as we getting ready to crank up for that. You just saw Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen put the pictures out of them signing their contracts. So finally getting those guys locked up, getting ready to, crank off Summer League. The games that already started going. You seen the first real battle of like the top picks with VJ and Ace and how VJ looked, and everybody's kind of excited going forward. So with the Pels getting ready to play their first game on the 10th, you finally starting to get ready to get some game action. We've been seeing the uh like they just started releasing like some of the practice clips, and you seeing the guys in their jerseys getting familiar and stuff like that. So just kind of wanted to talk about that real quick. So we also saw Jordan Poole come out, saying he's gonna wear the three. So you saw the JP3 post. See Trey Murphy seemed real excited about that. He's been supporting Jordan Poole a lot on social media and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if more than like Zion and everybody else excited, Trey seemed really excited to have Jordan Poole on the team as well. So but that's good, man. Seeing these guys picking their numbers, and like you saw the pictures of Poole and his Pels gear, and it's just kind of like the momentum is starting to build for the season. And one of the first things that happens that typically gets the excitement going is Summer League. Summer League is one of the first times you actually get to see your new players and how they look on the NBA level. So the roster was just like the full roster was just put out, and they had released Reeves from his contract, but it looks like he's still Antonio Reeves, but it looks like he's still gonna be on the summer league roster, which I think is a good thing. I don't know, does that mean he makes the big team when the season starts, but still having him around the program and having him able to show what it was that he had going on is pretty good. I mean, I think you should look to Antonio Reeves to be one of the brighter spots in the summer league performances and stuff like that out of players on the team. So what are we looking for out of summer league? Like for me, because summer league is its own unique kind of basketball experience. Not like summer league to me is similarly to G League, and I don't know if it's necessarily as good as like G League play. Like it's a lot of like early draft picks, like two-way players, people, a lot of people that probably won't play in the NBA are on a lot of these summer league rosters, and it's heavily skewed to like guard play and stuff like that. It's like a lot of assistant coaches and stuff. So I think sometimes when you see people have good performances and or bad performances in summer league, people tend to sway a little bit too much either way. I think you can perform. I mean, obviously, you don't want to have a poor performance in summer league, but I think you can not be your best self in summer league and still, when the season come, you can still turn it around. There's time between summer league and the season for you to make improvements and continue to get better. Just like we saw with Eves last year. Eves did not look well, did not, perform well in summer. And then when the season came, like by game one, he was serviceable. You know what I mean? And that's a significant jump from what we saw. So coming into this particular summer league, the things that I'm looking for specifically, like obviously you want to see Fears, Queen, and Missy, specifically those three, play relatively well. And relatively well doesn't necessarily mean that they have to. And this is just for me. This doesn't mean that they have to like shoot the lights out or anything like that. But you want to see their like what it is that they do translate to the next level. Like I want to see Jeremiah Fears handle look elite against this level of competition as well. Like I want to see him be able to get to wherever he wants on the floor. I want to see him be able to beat people off the dribble. I want to see him not being bothered by pressure, because in summer league they do pick up full court a lot, and you need to be able to handle that if you're going to be the 7th pick point guard for, potential point guard for the future. And when they comparing like his handle and stuff like that, like that's your skill. You need to be able to show on this level that out of anything that happens, because you can have questions about some of the shooting, you can have questions about some of the size, and a lot of the things that they're going to question about Fierce is finishing and all of that. But the one thing that we need to know for sure is this dude is an elite dribbler, elite ball handler, and that's going to show. So that's what I'm looking for from Fierce. And anything that comes after that, like I'll take as a plus, I guess, because he does have a lot more in his game. Don't get me wrong, but I like my expectations, I guess, like he doesn't have to come out and score 30 for me to be impressed. Now, if he does, that's great. But at the same time, like even if he does score 30, I'm not like, oh man, he scored 30 in summer league. You see some players dominate summer league or look really well in summer league, and it doesn't translate um when the actual game start. I'll dive into that a little bit later as well. So for Fears, like I said, that's mainly what I'm looking for. Be a point guard, like like see if you've improved somewhat with your turnovers over the 4 games. Um, playing with pace. Can you get others involved? How do you look in the pick and roll? Can you get to the free throw line? Stuff like that is kind of what I'm looking for, right? Like right now, how do you communicate with your teammates? How do you look defensively? Not saying that he has to look like an amazing defender, but I just want to see what he looks like. You know what I mean? So that's the first thing on that. Derek Queen, what I'm expecting out of Derek Queen is I want to see what level the conditioning is as we start the summer. So like, can he get up and down the floor consistently? Can he play like, so in summer league it's kind of tough for bigs. Again, it's like real guard oriented. A lot of people don't play inside, and we don't know exactly how the Pelicans plan to run the summer league offense yet. So like, are they gonna run a lot of pick and roll? Are they gonna play through Derek Queen some? We're not sure yet. So it's hard to really say it's hard to judge what Derek Queen's production, I guess, will look like without knowing those things. But I do want to see if his ability to pass translates. Is he making the right cuts? Like the things you saw with him on the floor, can he get a rebound, take it on a break, hit the open man? Are they playing off of each other and stuff like that? Like, or do they naturally do the things that complement each other that you can envision when they drafted them? Like, you can tell that there was a plan for those particular players when they drafted them. So I just want to do those things come naturally. Do they have to kind of work at it a little bit? How do those things grow over the next 4 or 5 games or however many games? You guaranteed at least 5, and then depending on what goes on after that, we'll see. So how does he rebound? Like, can he rebound at an elite level, or like where's his rebounding defensively? Like, there's been a lot of questions about his defense. I just want to see what it looks like. It's not like I'm not looking at it to be overly critical, again, because it's summer league. These are things that you need to work on. Now, you want to have good showings, absolutely, but it's not necessarily make or break. The NBA game and summer league are completely different. Now, if those two come out and look, like extremely dominant, then you could take that and be like, okay, yeah, like those dudes are NBA players, they'll fit and stuff like that. But also, if they have bad performances, like, I don't think we should get overly hung up and start being like if Derek Queen doesn't perform well, hypothetically, I don't think she'd be like, oh man, it's guaranteed that, you know, he's gonna be a bust and all of that. Like a lot of players didn't perform well. Like Wemby, like the very first 1 or 2 summer league games he played, he did not perform well. And then I think it was the second or third game in Vegas, Wemby looked like Wemby. So even some of the top prospects who end up turning out really like playing really well and stuff like that don't always start off, you know, amazing. Like it takes time, and you know it takes a couple games. There's a lot of stuff you got to get used to the speed of the game. You know, these dudes haven't probably played like real games in, I mean, March, but since March. So and then they've probably been keeping up with their conditioning somewhat. So it's just um it's just a couple things that I don't think we should like overreact to depending on what the results are, whether good or bad, in my opinion. Also, when I'm watching the one thing I noticed that they were showing some of the clips from you know, the practice with Derek Queen and everything. Man, Derek looks a little smaller now, to me at least. He looks a little smaller than he did last time they showed him in college. So if that dude is taking his strength and conditioning and his fitness, you know, serious early and comes into the season uh more in better shape than he did or more conditioned than he did when he was in college, that's already a good sign. But the way he looked in the interviews and stuff like that, he didn't seem as big as I remember him, at least in college. So I think that's a good sign moving forward as well. Um, Obviously, another thing that I'm specifically looking for from summer league is how does Eves look? The reports came out that Eves had put on a little bit more weight. You know, was looking a little stronger. Was even more explosive. And Eves has been putting out some of his workout videos. You know, him shooting some threes and stuff like that. Now in summer, if he shoots a 3 or 2, like I don't mind. Like this is the time for him to do those kinds of things. Like go out, shoot the 3, see what it look like, show what you've been, you know, what you've been working on. Like nobody's gonna kill you for if you know Eves faces up somebody and try something in these games. These are what these games are for. Show some of your work, see what you need to improve on, and you know, like this is when you should be somewhat experimenting to see what works, what doesn't work, stuff like that. Trying to build a chemistry. I do want to see how Derek Queen and Eves, because it looks like those two guys, unless something drastic happens, it looks like those two guys will be your bigs for the future moving forward. So how does Eves and Missy play off of each other? It's something that I want to keep an eye on too. Like Derek Queen came out and was like, "Man, he's gonna love playing with me." I could just imagine like all of the lives I'm gonna throw him in. I could imagine that Derek Queen probably sees Eve's missing. Like, bro, it's amazing to have an athletic, big, you know, that's nimble, can run around and stuff like that. Like, he's gonna make my life a lot easier as well. So I think you look to see that connection forming somewhat too. Like both of those guys being able to screen and stuff like that. So get up and down the floor because you know Eves is like he's not afraid to run. So I think it's going to be a thing to look at to see how those three, especially when you include Jeremiah Fears, like if he's getting the ball out and he's getting downhill and stuff like that, like does he find them on the live? Um, so I just think those three, since we're looking at them to be contributors to the actual, the varsity in this sense, um, I'm interested to see what their chemistry looks like and are they extremely productive on the floor as opposed to you know, like their individual games. Like, yes, I want them to all do well, but it's just a couple things that I'm looking for. Also, uh, Peavy, I'm interested to see what Peavy looks like as well because, him being the more, and I don't want to say veteran necessarily, but like an older guy, played all throughout college, so I'm interested to see how he looks because he should be more pro ready than even the guys who have the higher ceiling because he's played more basketball. So I'm interested to see what his game looks like. He like based on the projections, he looks like a legit 3-and-D wing. So will he be able to shoot the ball? Are they going to be able to generate open looks? Is he going to be disruptive defensively? Like is he going to cause turnovers? Is he going to be a elite on ball defender? So like I just kind of want to see what he looks like because it's a possibility that he may get some early minutes with the varsity as well, not knowing when Herb Jones will be back and when Trey Murphy will be back necessarily, how they're coming off of their injuries and stuff like that. So Peavy could see some significant minutes early, him and Sadiq Bey, but obviously we know what Bey is, but trying to see how Michael Peavy, like how his game looks in summer league and how he flows off the ball. Can he put it on the floor some? So those are a couple of things that I'm interested to see from him as well. Now, I just kind of want to caution because again, I've been saying it throughout this episode that like people get really excited about summer league. If somebody plays well, it's like, oh my gosh, this guy's gonna be a star. And then if somebody doesn't perform so well, it's like, man, this guy's god awful and terrible. Well, we have to remember that like in the most recent couple of summer leagues, we've seen as Pels fans like extremes of both of those. Like we saw in the Herb Jones when Herb Jones and Trey Murphy's rookie class came, you had Herb, Trey, Najee, Jose, which was a pretty good that was a really good summer league team. And you saw Trey looking awesome. Herb, you seen the defensive prowess in Herb and just being like a really smart player and good on the floor, and those things translated when the game started. Well, it translated for Herb. Trey shot relatively well in summer and looked really good offensively in summer, and then when the season started, it took him a little bit longer because the offense takes a little bit of time. He had to develop his game, confidence. He had to get a little stronger. There's a lot of things that Trey had to do to be more prepared to play on the NBA level than say Herb did. But I'm saying during the summer league when we saw him, we all were like, man, these guys are going to be awesome. And then one was able to play early, and then the other one took a little bit of time. Now, if you go back to the Kill Jackson Hayes Zion very briefly, Dede Lazat, like that summer league team, like Jackson Hayes in summer league looked like he was gonna be like he had Pelicans fans feeling like, man, this dude gonna be a all-star level start. Like we thought we had not a unicorn necessarily, but we thought Jackson Hayes, based on how he was dunking on people and running the floor and rebounding and everything, like we thought we had found cornerstone players moving forward, and it didn't necessarily work out like that. Like Jackson, while he had the athleticism, he is the type that would shine in summer league play, but then in the NBA games, it didn't really work out. So again, those are kind of things that I mean when it's like you have to be cautious when you putting so much stock into what we see in summer league. So like I just think we should be, like cautiously optimistic in a sense. Like just sit there, like just enjoy the games. Like you could, root for your guys and you want them to do well. And obviously if they perform well, you feel much better about them going into the season. But I'm not necessarily sure if if they have rough games that when the season starts, they won't be able to correct those things. I personally want to see them fail at certain things to a degree. Like I want to see them work on their games to a degree. I want to see them try things. But again, I also want to see them show their skill sets and what it is that got them drafted and what it is that they plan to do. Like, so it's a little give and take. So if you look at the schedule that they have, the summer league schedule, they got some pretty interesting teams they're gonna play. Like you get to see Rob Dillingham and Terrence Shannon most likely for the Timberwolves. That should be a good matchup. Watching young Fears going against a young Dillingham with a year under his belt, who's probably gonna be very aggressive. Terrence Shannon last summer league was good. If he's playing this summer league, man, you should see that dude take a leap. So how do they look compared to those athletes who are in year two? Typically year two, they come back and they dominate summer league. So I want to see that. They got the Lakers on the schedule. How do you look against Bronny and Dalton Connect? Like, are we like do our young players match up well and show well against some of those players? The Trailblazers, they should have a relatively good summer league team, and the OKC Thunder. Going against OKC keeps stacked young players and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see how they perform against higher. I don't want to say higher, but I think the summer league teams that they're going against have some pretty interesting young pieces to where it should be some good competition on the floor. Like it's a good barometer to say, okay, they're not going against like because sometimes like I notice like the Spurs will throw out a team sometime and it's just a team full of like guys you may not have known of. Like because I don't know if Dylan Harper's gonna play summer league at all. We don't know if Castle's gonna play. So if those two guys don't play, you might have Carter Bryant out there. But like other than that, like a lot of those guys are just like random guys. Not saying that they don't play hard and stuff, but you want to see our guys go against some of the guys with really good names and then perform. Um, and the last thing I kind of want to talk about or whatever is there's a lot of players that have potential on the summer league team. I want to see who actually that we're not looking at takes the opportunity and shines and creates an opportunity maybe on the varsity. And I'm gonna keep calling it the varsity because summer league is kind of like the JV. But like, will Trey Alexander look like will he look like okay, this guy is levels up like a level or two above some of the other players. Like okay, he can help the big team, or does like how does Hunter Dickinson look in his minutes? I'm sorry, Antonio Reeves. Does Antonio Reeves like does his game come completely easy? Like he's a year two guard coming into summer league. Like you would expect him to look better than some of the other players. So those are a couple things that I'm looking out for. I'm just ready for the games to kind of start the dialogue to pick up and see exactly what it is that we're working on, like what style of play that they want to play. Like I imagine they're gonna be a fast break kind of up and down kind of team, which is how most of summer league is played. But I'm interested to see how how they like what kind of style it is that they're gonna play, and if that's something that's supposed to translate from this to the big team. Because one thing that Joe Dumars said, and it's about setting a standard, and that standard being met regardless of who's on the floor, and that standard being met for everybody. So I'm assuming that includes the summer league team as well. They're not gonna be happy with even the summer league guys getting blown out and blasted and stuff like that. So I think you're gonna see some competitive teams, some competitive games, and I think you're gonna see a lot of these guys going out there also trying to put on a show, because I think that's what it is that Joe Dumars wants, and I think those are the kind of players that he brought in. So that's gonna do it for me, man. Again, I just kind of wanted to drop a little episode as we start getting more news about the Pelicans and everything that's going on. Summer league's right around the corner. Free agency is still kind of happening. It looks like the Pels need to make another move or two, so we'll keep an eye on that. Anything else that might happen, again, we'll tap in, and we'll shoot an episode to discuss those. But that's all for me, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all the support and stuff like that I've been getting early on. And if anybody got any, suggestions, recommendations, or whatever, man, again, I'm just trying to do what I can to keep this thing going and growing. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good day. Go Pels, and we out.